Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We are at 1031 Northwest Alma Court here in Hillsboro. We are located at the front of the house. I describe everything as if you're standing in the street facing the front of the home. So we are just off to the right of the front door here. We're going into a 3-inch ABS cleanout. We're checking the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. And I kind of give you this rundown here. This is a cap that's very flush to the ground and will likely get buried about the next time you put a layer of bark dust over it. So your cleanout is to the right of the door, smack dab in front of the very first foundation vent you come to. In fact, both your sewer and storm cleanout are here. That little white cap is your storm system. Black cap's your sewer. All right, water's running. We're going to zero the foot counter out here once we get down to the base of the cleanout. Off we go. Just transition there to 4-inch 3034 PVC. I saw a paint marking out in the road there that looked like sewer. I want to say this line, based on that marking, I think runs dead straight, which is an ideal configuration. Yep, there's the main lateral up ahead there. So if you draw an imaginary straight line from the clean out basically to the middle of the road, that is the pathway your line takes. Nice, simple configuration. There's the main at 36 feet. I've already basically located it based on the paint marking and watching the line visually. So we're just going to let the line drain out here for a moment, and we'll take a second look at things as we come back in once the pipe's all drained off. And thus far, line's looking good. I did notice a moment ago, the home inspector let a whole bunch of water loose out of a shower he had plugged up just to stress test it. I heard a little kind of a rattling sound, like there may have been some little rocks rattling through the pipe, but nothing, no visible anything here on the way out of the main. But I am going to run the camera backward just in the event some debris may have got into the line. Alright, line's all drained off here. Let's pull back and see what we see. And we'll go backwards here and see if anything. It's not uncommon. In fact, that's one of the biggest reasons, most common culprit in brand new construction lines is construction debris getting into the sewer line. We find our fair share of lines that need repairs too, but the most common thing, and it's nasty stuff. It's not like a kid's toothbrush or something like that you'd find on your average lived-in home. The kind of stuff that gets down these lines is severe. It's gravel, rebar, nail gun strip stuff that once it gets in there often does not move on its own at all, and it will cause a blockage and a backup about the first day you move into the house. So very, very good idea to scope these things. In fact, I've been doing this 13 years. I've cambered almost 25,000 sewer lines at this point. Thousands of those have been brand new construction homes. About 1 every 5 will have some kind of issue. Usually drain cleaning related, but repairs are not out of the realm of impossible either. During the pandemic, I probably did about 500 brand new homes over those 2 years. It was at a 90% or almost 90% failure rate. And I don't use the word failure unless the line is plugged and backing up. Almost every home I looked at during those 2 years required hydrojetting, or they would have backed up the first time you flushed the toilet. Alright, everything from the clean out access to the main lateral connection looks great. Line drains beautifully. All the pipes in good condition. It's clean. No settling problems, nothing. Yeah, going back in here, not seeing any debris. What I was hearing was so close, so loud, it had to have been something. There was probably a screw that fell into the line. That's a pretty common one. And that water flow just knocked it loose and flushed it right out of the pipe. And that right there is where the line necks down to a 2-inch drain for the sink, for the kitchen sink downstairs. So that's the end of the line there. It's actually further than I go back into these usually. When I heard that noise, I wanted to make sure there wasn't anything in here. Great flow end to end. All the ABS pipes in great shape, as is the 3034 PVC. Sewer line is functioning properly at this time. Very nice looking line there. And if you want to keep it clean and spiffy like that, you just saw there, obviously keep the junk out of it. You know you shouldn't put down a line. Paper towels, wipes, flushable wipes I include in that category. I think they are almost as terrible as paper towels are. If you are going to use them, I recommend flushing them separately from everything else. And ideally, do not wad them up, fold them, or use just one at a time. They really react like paper towels once you get more than one of them in a line. But the big thing that gunks your pipe up and causes probably more problems to your line than anything out there is putting cooking oil and grease down it. Fats in general build up in your line. They are not supposed to go down your pipe. I do a lot of warranty inspections. You'd be amazed at how many homes I see at about 10 months into a 1-year warranty that have developed a 1/2-inch thick layer of grease buildup in that span of time. So it can happen quickly if you're not being careful. Just wipe your pans out with a paper towel once the pan cools down. Pour the grease into a jar. It's when you're dealing with quantity that it gets you. If you've got a thin little coating of PAM spray on your pans, hot water and soap does the job. That's no big deal. The key is always use hot water and let your hot water run for about a minute longer than your last dish. That just helps to ensure that anything that did get down the line remains melted and emulsified until it gets to the main. It's especially a good living habit when you have kids in the house that are still wadding their toilet paper up like a softball. That grease buildup really slows things down, and when blockages do happen, they block much more effectively and are less likely to break loose on their own. Now, that's my PSA for the day on grease buildup. Anyhow, line looks great.